Greetings and welcome back to the Duke and Dutch Show. We have an explosive episode for you today. And that's not a joke about Israel and Iran. I would never make such an insensitive joke. We got Ethan Klein, who is on the warpath, suing creators for chair reacting to his content, which could change the very fabric of Twitch and YouTube, depending on how this lawsuit goes. We have more bullying of Caitlin Clark, and she finally has a teammate who's standing up for her, and they're not happy about that. I think she's going to suffer some fines. And we have RFK Jr., the MAGA crowd are making some serious wins with our food. As it's a running joke that Americans are overweight, which, you know, generally we are, but it might be a little more of what they're putting in our food. But first, the thing we're going to talk about is kind of the growing conflict of the MAGA crowd and this big divide, this big split of people who are saying, you got to support Trump no matter what, so we got to support Israel, the whole AIPAC thing. And then the other people are like, no, we want to be America first and no war. But before we get into all that, because I just rambled on for a bit, Duke, what's up with you? How are you doing today?
Not bad. Beautiful Friday, actually, over here in Pennsylvania so far. It's nice 70 degrees outside. I'll take it.
Oh,
Considering yesterday was 92, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, yesterday was hot, and I don't know, I'm already sweating today. I'm on my second floor, though. So
Yeah.
it's like 5 degrees hotter up here, but what can you do? It's not as bad as Florida. So I will, got to take that. So there's been a lot of information going on. There's been bombs traded back and forth from Iran to Israel. Obviously, we talked about this conflict a bit on Wednesday. It was like, it's probably the biggest story going on right now. They're saying that Iran bombed this hospital in Israel. Will the UN condemn it? And obviously, I mean, that's terrible. If this is accurate, if it did happen, I'm not saying it didn't because I don't think they're probably launching bombs pretty indiscriminately, although we do know that Israel kind of did start this conflict. And like I said, I've been pretty critical of the Israeli government. And I mean, it's the people who are going to suffer. I mean, that's the worst part of it, too. It's like, I don't know. I hope there is a peaceful resolution of this. I know Trump's kind of talked to it. Let's see here, because somebody says down here, Israel bombed 36 hospitals in Gaza, Israel bombed 40 hospitals in Lebanon, Israel bombed 3 hospitals in Iran this week, and I'm sure the UN won't condemn it. Yeah, very true. If that's at all accurate. But I'm more interested right now in this growing split between the MAGA movement. There are some people saying, hey, you got to be very cautious and very careful of these people who are protecting, or they're going against what Trump wants. And there's other people who are like, well, why can't you criticize Trump? Because I would argue, yeah, if you can't criticize Trump, then I would say, yeah, you probably are in a cult, right? Then you're no better than, the leftists who said you can never criticize Biden, and they ran roughshod for him, and,
One of the few great things of our system is we are allowed to criticize, and hence why a lot of people have jobs.
Yeah.
Called journalists. It's we have opinions. We like to express them. Not everyone thinks the same, and it's okay. We should be allowed to talk about it. It's one of the great things of America.
Well, as I think we've covered a couple of weeks ago with the whole Biden fiasco, I think journalism is kind of dying. You're going to lose access. You use your press passes and all that stuff. And there are people like this on the right as well. Cat Turd is one. He's a very, very strong, staunch Trump supporter. And he says, stop supporting these so-called influencers who flip-flop on supporting Trump every 5 minutes. Every one of them are in it for the money. How can you not see this by now? Well, then we have like the medium take over here from Philip Anderson. A big discussion about which MAGA influencers are real and fake. The ones that never say anything against Israel and have never called out Trump or put pressure on him are fake. This isn't complicated at all. Notice how I can't be controlled by anyone. Notice how there isn't a single topic I hide from. That's because I'm real. And people say anti-war is, MAGA, which people did. They voted to end wars. They don't want any new wars. I don't want, Americans to die for other countries. That was
one of his promises, yeah.
Yep. And from the Hodge twins, who are on the other side of it. They're not so much in the middle. There's a clear divide on the right on X right now. Pro-war neocons, Fox News hosts like Hannity and Levin, and Republicans like Graham, Cruz, etc. And we're going to get into Cruz in a second. Bootlickers, Cat Turd, Loomer, etc. Each group has their own audience of followers behind them. The neocons are straight garbage and can't be reasoned with. The other groups agree on almost everything except the bootlickers are scared to death of saying anything that might question Israel or Trump. We need the anti-war conservatives and the bootleggers to come together against the neocons and shut down any talk of war to show President Trump how his base really feels. And I think that's a good point too. I think if enough people are vocal about it, I mean, maybe he'll listen to it, maybe he won't. But yeah, he ran on no new wars, which was a big thing. You know, it's one of the reasons I voted for Trump. And I do think it's kind of funny when it comes to the Ukraine-Russia thing, we're kind of all like, no, we shouldn't be involved in that. But when it comes to Israel, we have a totally different stance. And I guess I find that just kind of, it's confusing. You know, I'm confused by that.
To me, it's hypocritical. Yeah, absolutely. How can you view one situation different than the other besides I still don't know what the benefits are, but supposed benefits that we get from Israel?
Well, if you want to be anti-war, you just should be anti-war, I think. And it's like, you know.
Last I checked, we were supposed to be getting resources from Ukraine. We still never did, but yet we were still giving them billions of dollars of.
Oh, yeah, that deal fell through. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's okay for that deal to fall through. Exactly. We're like, all right, well, we're not going to help them out anymore. But however, if it's Israel, then it's like, oh, whoa, we got to help Israel, our greatest ally. I'm like, I know everyone keeps saying that. I just don't. I don't know what the government of Israel has really ever done for America. So
I know they accidentally bombed one of our warships.
Yeah, the USS Liberty. Yeah, they did accidentally.
Other than that, I can't really think of any type of impact that they've had on our country.
I mean, I think they do kind of give us
Do we import anything? Do we export anything from them?
No, I would highly doubt that. I mean, maybe some stuff, but like, it does kind of give us a foothold. It gives us a friend in the Middle East, but it's like, I would say that, I don't know if you want, I just don't know. I don't want to be involved in this region, really.
Last I checked, friendship is a two-way street. It's not one person just benefiting from the other person's friendship.
That's what it seems like to me. So we're going to get into it. This is a little clip here from Steven Crowder, which is, I mean, he is saying he doesn't want to use a bunker buster, which means that Israel, when they went to start this job, and actually let me see if I can find it really quick here. Yeah, Netanyahu is actually over here saying, I mean, and this was reported by Nick Sorter as of yesterday, Israel does not need our help. They're saying Netanyahu admits Israel does not need help reaching their goals in Iran. This is exactly why we anti-war advocates have been so vocal this past week. This is not a war, it's Israel's. And if they claim they can do it themselves, then be my guest. Exactly. Yeah. I 100% agree with that. But
especially if they're going out saying that. I didn't know that Netanyahu said that, but if that's what he's saying, absolutely.
He seems like he's pretty okay with it. So it's like, all right, well then, hey, let's not get involved.
Why are we even discussing this?
Because they're our greatest ally, and the whole APEC thing,
Ideal scenario here to me.
First
off, most hilarious scenario would be if Russia just reached their wits' end and just came in and just dropped bunker busters on Iran. We're like, screw it, we don't want to deal with this. And then the people wouldn't have, like Ian Carroll, people like that would have no idea what to do. I think ideal scenario, number one, you guys tell me, let's look through that. Israel is able to take care of this. Somehow is able to take out the nuclear capabilities.
Use the penetrator bomb we just talked about.
And maybe some clandestine operation. Number two would be that, okay, we come to talks here where Israel says, all right, okay, we'll stop if we have access to everything. This is basically disarmed, and we have the ability to inspect. And, of course, at the same time, Israel allows the United States to. That should be part of our negotiations as well.
IEA has to go in there.
Yeah, I have to go in there. And then less ideal scenario would be if the United States gives a bunker buster or whatever artillery, whatever kind of bomb and planes to fly it to Israel to do the job. And then worst case scenario is sending in Americans in any kind of clandestine operation like that. So these are the different possible scenarios. I'd like Israel to handle it without us. I really would like to see that, because here's what.
And it sounds like they can. Obviously, should I pull up the thing again? This is what Netanyahu says. We can do it ourselves. We don't need America. And I'm like, hey, that sounds great news to me. Really
bothers me about us giving them bunker busters. That means that Israel went in to start a job that they knew they needed us to finish.
That's right.
And that's backing us into a corner, and I don't like that, and friends don't do that.
True. Yeah, that's what you just said at the start of that clip. Yeah, why friends don't. Yeah.
Friends don't bring their other friends into their personal conflicts.
See, but the problem is here, too, is there's so many people, bad actors, I would say, and I can't believe this is, we're going to hear from Ted Cruz here. He's talking to Tucker Carlson, and I played a little bit of this, but not this part of it, on Wednesday. And I almost can't believe that this is this guy's stance, and he's in Congress. I'm going to just let him talk about it. But I think this is a crazy position for anybody who is a representative or a senator, a governor, anybody who is within our legislative process to have this position.
So I've never taken money from the Israel lobby. Have you?
Taken money from the Israel...
From AIPAC.
So AIPAC raises a lot of money for me, but it's actually a misnomer because the people who raise money are individuals. Right. So it's not the PAC itself, but they're individual members who believe in the American-Israeli friendship and relationship.
Is AIPAC a foreign lobby?
No, it's an American lobby. It's the AIPAC stands for the America-Israeli Political Action Committee.
What does it lobby for?
So, to be honest, not a whole lot effectively. Listen.
Well, what do you think Ted Cruz is actually saying here?
Yes, I do take money from Israel.
Well,
That's what he said.
He's saying it doesn't
but
affect...
Not a roundabout way.
He's saying it doesn't effectively lobby for stuff. And I would say, well, the fact that you're on here right now defending AIPAC, but you're like, I really can't tell you what it's for. You know what it's for. It's so they can put money in your coffers. So when something happens with Israel, you can pop up and be like, hey, we got to go protect Israel.
We need to support them. Yeah. You're showing what it's for.
Yeah.
For their alliance.
Yep.
I came into Congress 13 years ago with the stated intention of being the leading defender of Israel in the United States Senate.
That's insane. That's such an insane statement. It's like, I came in not for the American people. I came in so I could protect Israel's interest within our country. And hey, that's a great position to take if you want to make a lot of money. And I'm sure he's taken a lot from AIPAC. But it doesn't...
It's a good business model.
It's not... Yeah, but it's not great, for your constituents. Because it doesn't sound like you're very America first. It sounds like,
Last I checked, you're an American representative, not an Israeli representative. But
I'd have to look. I'll have to look that up after this. Maybe I could be wrong.
Great. I've worked every day to do that. AIPAC, a lot of times, I wish were much more effective. Like, there are folks online who are in the fever swamp of terrified of AIPAC, and AIPAC...
I'm not terrified of AIPAC at all. You're the one who seems a little uncomfortable when I'm asking.
No, not uncomfortable at all.
I'm just asking what AIPAC does. My understanding, having known a lot of people who work at AIPAC, is that it lobbies on behalf of the Israeli government.
Wrong.
Oh, okay.
It's
when was the last time AIPAC took a position that deviated from Prime Minister Netanyahu?
All the time.
Name one.
Okay. Let me go back and give a little history. If you want to do a deep dive on AIPAC,
I don't. I want to do a shallow dive that gets... No. I want to get to the core question. AIPAC is lobbying for a foreign government.
Yes.
And false. It's not.
No.
It's lobbying for the United States.
It is lobbying for a strong U.S.-Israeli relationship.
True.
Yeah,
and why aren't they...
I'm sorry, I just messed it up.
If you want to do a deep dive on AIPAC...
I don't. I want to do a shallow dive that gets...
I
want to get to the core question. AIPAC is lobbying for a foreign government. And it's not. It's lobbying...
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, I clicked the wrong thing. I skipped ahead. My fault, everybody.
For the United States?
It is lobbying for a strong U.S.-Israeli relationship.
Okay. So it has nothing to do with the foreign government?
It wants America and Israel to be closely allied.
Okay, but it's lobbying on behalf of the interests of another country.
So that's not true at all. And if
it's not true.
No.
How much contact do you think AIPAC leaders have with the government of Israel?
No idea. I imagine some. I think the government of Israel is often frustrated with AIPAC because AIPAC's not nearly strong enough.
Do you think there's any coordination between the government of Israel and AIPAC?
Do they talk? Sure. If you're lobbying for more...
Wouldn't that be an issue, though? Like, you're saying, hey, we know there are people, from AIPAC who are involved with the Israeli government, but don't worry, it's not a... It's in America.
Not a conflict of interest.
It is in America first. I mean, we put the A before the I, so, don't worry. It is America first.
U.S.-Mexico trade, would you talk to people in the U.S. and Mexico and the government? Sure.
So I'm not mad about that. There are a million countries that lobby Washington. I like a lot of those countries, including Israel.
But AIPAC are Americans, but not Israelis.
Hold on. There are tons of Americans who lobby on behalf of foreign governments. I know them. I'm related to some of them. I know how it works. I'm from here. So my question is not, is it outrageous that foreign governments lobby the United States? They all do, okay, including Israel. My only question is, why don't we admit that is what's happening? You're denying it, but it's true.
Yeah, and why
aren't they registered as a foreign lobby?
Because they're not.
See,
Yeah, that's deflection at its best by Ted Cruz right there. All his response is, in case you hadn't noticed, what was any of the proof that they're not? He kept giving roundabout answers. He didn't actually give any type of proof as to why they're not foreign. They're not speaking for the foreign entity of Israel. But
I don't know if this is true or not. From the classicist, he responded to this, but he says, as of 2024, the U.S. House of Representatives consists of 3 political parties: AIPAC with 324 members, Democratic Party with 84 members, Republican Party with 27 members. And I don't know the history of AIPAC exactly, but I do know that unusually high number of our Congress people are always okay whenever we got to go defend Israel. That's all I know. And I would guarantee it's because they're throwing a lot of money around Washington and filling a lot of people's coffers. We got to get foreign money.
Sounds like it.
We got to get foreign money out of U.S. politics, but I don't think that's ever going to happen here. So,
good luck getting Congress to vote on that.
This is the last thing. Is from Matt Gaetz here, and he has I don't know. This is actually something I haven't actually heard before. I don't think it would work. But he says basically, flips the script on the Middle East diplomacy. If both Iran and Israel have secret nuclear programs with no IAEA oversight, why not have them both give them up? A dual disarmament deal brokered by Trump sealed with the Nobel Peace Prize. And
realistically, there should be oversight from an independent party. IAEA, if that's who they, should be in charge of it, then they should be in charge of it.
If they're going to get other people involved, 100%. You're going to get other countries involved, or we got to get involved with it, yeah. So I don't know, I'm going to play this whole thing, but we'll see what Matt Gaetz here has to say.
Israel didn't kick their regime change habit with Iraq or Libya or Syria, it seems. They need another fix. But Matt, this isn't a regime change war. It's about Iran's nuclear program. I wish that were true, but it's not. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene opined that maybe Netanyahu is so feisty about regime change in Iran because he was facing regime change in Israel.
It's not being reported enough that on Thursday, they held a vote in the Knesset, and it was only by 2 votes that Netanyahu won. If he had lost, they would have had another election in Israel, and the polling shows that he would lose if an election were to occur today.
And I think that's probably true. Benjamin Netanyahu Benjamin Netanyahu is so wildly unpopular. I don't even think, I mean, in America, obviously, or, around the world, obviously, but it's probably in Israel, too. It's like a lot of people view him as a warmonger. And it's like, hey,
Absolutely. It's just going off of what they see. Like, I'm sure just like any other government, they don't know all the details. But at the same time, I'm sure they see the bombings. Look at the night sky in Israel for the last couple of days. And that's directly correlated to what this gentleman has decided to do with Israel forces. So, as an Israeli citizen, I can only speculate, but I would think I wouldn't want that leader anymore if that's what they're going to do. And how many of my friends have died because of wars that he wanted to start? It's similar topics to what we do in America. Are we happy with certain presidents that bring us into wars that ended up being totally unjust or for
ineffective,
unlogical reasons? Yeah, ineffective. We are very critical of those presidents. Why are we surprised that Israelis are critical of Netanyahu? It's obvious. To me, that's just the obvious conclusion.
That vote happened last Thursday. And then Friday, Israel attacked Iran. That's why the bombs are falling. And it seems very political.
Here's how you know this isn't
can you
about
pause
Iran's
that for a second?
Sure.
Also, last I checked, when they first attacked, how can he say that, it's not, or somebody denying that it's not about a regime change when you directly targeted however many, I don't know the exact number, but however many high-end officials to
and nuclear facilities. I mean, you're definitely trying to cripple Iran in any way you can.
You specifically targeted generals. You specifically targeted the leaders of political parties. If that's not a change of regime, what is? You're specifically aiming to kill the leaders of the regime.
Oh, I don't think he cares about their regime change. Obviously, that's not his country, but yeah.
I mean, it definitely helps with what he's trying to achieve.
I know what you're saying though, exactly. And yeah, it's like, again, this preemptive defense thing, because I don't have the clip now, but I played it the other day, and it's like they've been saying that Iran is weeks away from having nuclear warheads for like 30 years now, and it's like
since 1995. And obviously, that's bullshit.
Maybe they're going to come out and they'll admit the truth at some point. I mean, it doesn't seem...
Their news report says they'll have nuclear weapons within 15 days. How are they going to have nuclear weapons within 15 days if you just bomb their facilities?
I don't know. I don't get it. I really don't.
Nuclear program. We aren't taking these steps to force denuclearization where the threat is higher and the leaders are even crazier. Take North Korea. North Korea's nuclear program is a far greater threat to the United States than Iran's. It is not even close. I know, I've had the briefings. I was on the House Armed Services Committee for 8 years. Iran has neither the bomb, the delivery system, nor the re-entry vehicle that you would need for any intercontinental ballistic missile to launch and re-enter orbit.
No.
Yeah, last I checked, wasn't North Korea testing ballistics?
They
were failing, but they were testing.
Yeah, I believe I haven't really kept up on that in a while, but I think
this was a while ago, if I remember.
Maybe Matt Gaetz is gonna say it here because I don't think he's like so close to saying it, but he's not saying it. It doesn't matter if they can go intercontinental. I don't think they're gonna target the United States, but they could target Israel, and that's what I guess Israel is worried about. That's why they're preemptively doing this. But it's like, I don't know, like.
Because geographically, they are very close to each other.
Geographically, they're very close, but you know what? Maybe
we wouldn't have. They're not going to bomb us with any. We'd be able to do countermeasures, but with how long it would be in the sky.
But then again, if Israel didn't want Israel did not have to preemptively defend itself by launching attacks on Iran's nuclear facilities and trying to take out their leaders. That did not need to happen.
North Korea has all three. North Korea could launch a nuclear weapon at mainland United States today. And we've probably got the ability to knock it out of the sky, but Iran can't even get their bird in the air.
Yeah, North Korea, I think, is actually.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's got to be closer to us. Yeah, North Korea's on the 51st.
I still think we could defend it ourselves against them, but they're closer than an attack than Iran. Iran is definitely a lot more on the other side.
That I do not know anything about the defensive capabilities of America to stop nukes, but Matt Gaetz probably does because he's been in briefing rooms like that. So
part of the reason why we have military bases throughout the world is for defense, so we can launch countermeasures from whatever entity.
Oh yeah, I guess we have like bases over in like Guam, the Philippines, stuff like that. It's not particularly close. It's closer than America.
We can launch jets to try and neutralize the ballistics overseas. That way, there's no fallout. That's exactly what we would probably do.
Iran's death to America chant isn't really my bag, obviously. But Kim in the Hermit Kingdom points to U.S. cities like Los Angeles and San Diego and Seattle on maps, and he openly discusses wiping off major U.S. population centers from existence. Of course, we aren't looking to drop 100 bunker busters in the mountains of North Korea. President Trump took other brilliant diplomatic steps to constrain North Korea's hostilities. And the same could be done with Iran. But Matt, Iran has kicked out IAEA inspectors. There could be portions of their nuclear program that are secret. A nuclear secret in the Middle East. How about it? If the world is interested in a secret nuclear program in the Middle East,
never heard that one.
There is a country that won't allow any international inspectors. Israel. Israel has a nuclear weapon. Did you know that? I do. They allow no inspections. They are fully secretive and clandestine about it, and the Americans are fully aware. You know what? I don't even blame Israel for this. If they want to develop a nuclear weapon, if they had the blessing to do so secretly, I'm not in judgment of that. But to drag the world into a regime change war over secret nuclear weapons, when you have secret nuclear weapons...
True.
Yeah. I mean, that is right on the head.
President Trump is the kind of guy who never gives up on a deal. Throughout his life, he's probably made deals and made lots of money on them, even when others walked away or didn't see value in a transaction.
Probably.
So here's the deal. How about Iran and Israel both give up their secret nuclear weapon programs? If Trump got that deal, he wouldn't only get the Nobel Peace Prize, they'd probably name it the Trump Peace Prize forevermore.
It would never happen. Israel would never give up their nuclear weapons. They worked too hard to get them. There's no way it would ever happen.
And it's not that crazy to think about Israel denuclearizing. Look at the model in South Africa. South Africa denuclearized right before they stopped being an apartheid state. Prominent voices in Israel and America have called for Trump to recognize Israel's sovereignty over Judea and Samaria, which some people call the West Bank. If that happens, Israel will have to let the 5 to 6 million people who live there vote. And they don't want to do that. I'm not calling Israel an apartheid state. Right now, I don't think they are. But if they are ruling the West Bank, as the neocons would suggest, then the South Africa model for denuclearization is not totally off base. There's a certain bravado at the beginning of a Middle East regime change war. There's enthusiasm, bold predictions of swift victory, and usually a total misunderstanding of what happens next.
Not gonna happen.
And the leading voice championing regime change wars for decades has been Fox News.
We must do the right thing. Saddam is evil and a threat to the world. He must go. We should have just taken 1441 and rammed it down Saddam's throat. It is dangerous to allow an evil dictator to remain in power. Now, if you want a chance that Saddam...
I think we talked about this the other day, too. Now, Saddam Hussein was definitely not a good person, but we did destabilize a country by taking him out. We did do that. Like, so that was, I don't know. It's like, Probably we should have never went in there and messed with it. But no, you know what? That was the whole, Bush Jr. wanted to finish up what his father started over there and all that, I'm not going to get into all that. But yeah, there's no reason to be involved in that at all.
That is your right in a free society, and I respect that right. But I don't want to chance that. Saddam Hussein is the largest army in the Middle East, all right? He has developed these weapons for no purpose. He doesn't need them defensively, all right? He doesn't need them at all. He's used them, as you know, all right? And he's invaded two.
He never had the weapons. There were no weapons of mass destruction. Yeah. Never.
They were not found.
They weren't there. Yeah.
So you're blatantly just.
Well, you're fear mongering. Exactly. You're fear mongering after the whole. Well, this is a little further after that, but after 9/11, people were obviously rightfully scared, and they kind of. You got the whole justification going to Afghanistan and then to go into Iraq.
Yep.
Kelly, not right now. I'm on the thing, and she's working. Come on. Help. Sorry about that. I'm babysitting right now.
All right. No worries.
Two other countries. But this isn't enough for you to have him removed. I think you're dead wrong. I don't think that there's any reason on this earth that man should remain in power. In the end, Saddam will be removed from power, and the world will be a better place.
Tragically, we will lose American lives, but it will be brief. We're going to find out massive evidence of weapons of mass destruction.
I am confident that all those things that you predict are going to come true.
All right, we don't need to go through this over and over. We know what they're going to say. I think this is this John McCain?
I believe so.
Looks like John McCain. Yeah, so I'm gonna keep going. Yeah. So, all right, we don't need to finish this up, but I think honestly, Matt Gaetz, if what he's saying about South Africa is true after they stopped being an apartheid state and they did surrender their nuclear arms, it could be done, but it won't be done. There's no way. No one should be against this unless they are compromised. Israel has no IAEA oversight and never signed the Non-Proliferation Treaty. Iran did have IAEA oversight and signed the Non-Proliferation Treaty. You misquoted him. All right, so let's see here. Yeah, so I think it's just a bad idea overall. I got this article here, and we're gonna wrap this up because we can't talk about this forever. We're gonna move on to something else. Iran says no nuclear talks under Israeli fire. Trump considers options, and this is a really hard story to report on too. I'm just saying. I know you found an article that kind of was saying something different. There's so much news coming out about this. So we're gonna try to report. We're gonna try to report on what we can confirm, and if we can't, then we might have to, come back and do retraction and say, hey, we got this wrong or that wrong. It's it's the whole reason I never really touched on doing the Ukraine-Russia war because there was just so much misinformation that comes out about it. And
agreed.
Diplomats not optimistic about Geneva talks. Iran news site says Israeli drone strikes Tehran residential building. Israel has hammered Iran's regional allies. Iran missile hits Beersheba City. Israel carries out several strikes. So it doesn't look like this is really slowing down here. Let's see. Iran said on Friday it would not discuss the future of its nuclear program while under attack by Israel, as Europe tried to coax Tehran back into negotiations, and the United States considers whether to get involved in the conflict. A week after it began attacking Iran, Israel's military said it had carried out new strikes on dozens of military targets overnight, including missile production sites and a research organization involved in nuclear weapons development in Tehran. Iran launched at least one new barrage of missiles early on Friday, striking near residential apartments, office buildings, and industrial facilities in the southern city of Beersheba. I hope I'm saying that right. The White House said on Thursday that President Donald Trump would decide on whether or not to go with U.S. involvement in the conflict in the next 2 weeks, citing the possibility of negotiations involving Iran in the near future. And like I said, I think from the very start, this was very badly mismanaged. Israel said, hey, Iran, you got to give up your weapons. And then we kind of came in and we big dicked them. And we were like, yeah, we side with Israel. And then Israel preemptively attacked them. And now it's like, oh, well, why won't Iran make a deal? It's like you're going to force them to make a deal by trying to blow them off the map. And it's like, it's just not a good look, man. It's just really not,
We're trying to bully them into a deal at this point, yeah.
Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, I'm sorry, I can't say these names, said on Friday there was no room for negotiation with Israel's superpower ally, the United States of America, until Israeli aggression stops. But he was due to meet European foreign ministers in Geneva later on Friday for talks at which Europe hopes to establish a path back to diplomacy over Iran's nuclear program. Two diplomats said before meeting involving France, Britain, Germany, and the European Union's foreign policy chiefs that Araghchi would be told the U.S. is still open to direct talks. Expectations for a breakthrough are low, diplomats say. And as we already know, Israel began attacking Iran last Friday, saying its longtime enemy was on the verge of developing nuclear weapons. And if that's all you really have, and we've gone over this and over this, it's like,
if that's your basis for the attack, it's unwarranted. You've been saying it for 30 years. And there's no ironclad proof, no matter what you say, there's no ironclad proof that says they have nuclear weapons. Or close to developing nuclear weapons. The only one that says they're close is Israel.
Iran,
the only people that are saying they're close.
Iran, which says its nuclear program is only for peaceful purposes, well, that obviously isn't true, retaliated with a missile and drone strikes on Israel. Israel is widely assumed to possess nuclear weapons. It neither confirms nor denies this, which it really should. But I believe they do have nuclear weapons because of the whole Mossad JFK thing, but I'm not going to get into that. Israeli air attacks have killed 639 people in Iran, according to the Human Rights Activist News Agency, a U.S.-based human rights organization that tracks Iran. The dead include the military's top echelon and nuclear scientists. Israel has said at least 24 Israeli civilians have been killed in Iranian missile attacks. Reuters could not independently verify the death toll from either side. Details of casualties in the latest strikes were not immediately known. So I feel like we're going to be covering this on Monday. You know, I really hope we can get a peace deal done. I don't want American boots on the ground there. I don't want Israel to keep getting blown up. I don't want Iran to keep getting blown up because if what can be confirmed is true here, and it probably is because the Iron Dome, it's not 100% effective, but it's pretty effective. So it'll block most incoming missiles. Iran has nothing like that. So when they're going to get hit, they're just going to get hit. I mean, they're just...
Well, according to those numbers, again, they're not official numbers, but their death toll already for civilians is in the hundreds, whereas Israel is 24.
Yeah, Israel's is at a few dozen. Where's that number right here?
A couple dozen, something like that.
2 dozen, yeah. Versus 639, so yeah.
We're talking 100 deaths to 24 deaths, and I mean, either way, anything more than 0 is not desired. You know, it'd be nice if we could find a diplomatic solution to this, but I guess the next 2 weeks are going to be very telling.
Yeah, I'm sure.
What happens? It's what it sounds like. The next 2 weeks are important.
I really wanted to cover this again. Not that I think that this isn't going to go back and forth until we get something official from Trump. But it's really the whole split between the MAGA party, too. And they're just like, I think it's crazy. I don't know. I don't think it's a bad thing to criticize Trump. Trump is not an infallible person. He can be criticized.
Just like anyone else. Yep.
And, hey, he ran on keeping us out of wars. So I really do hope he keeps us out of this one.
Yeah.
Or, all other solution is, hey, everyone was pro-war. Everyone was like, hey, I'll go die for Israel. All right, sign up. Go. It's not an American conflict. I personally wouldn't want to. I don't want to see my kids have to do it.
I don't want to see any U.S. military going over there and fighting a conflict that has nothing to do with us.
Yep. But apparently that's an anti-Trump stance, which I'm like...
We've done that too many times in our history. We need to stop doing that.
Yep. All right. Well, we're moving on from that. We are going to come up to... if I can get off of this page. Mr. Ethan Klein. And he was suing Denham's, Froggen, and Casey Tron specifically for claims they reacted in malicious ways to siphon views from his content nuke. Now, I don't really like Ethan Klein, and I don't really like Denham's or Froggen. I don't even know who Casey Tron is, personally. But this conflict has been going on for a while, so I'm going to catch everybody up to speed a little bit. There was this whole content nuke that went on. iDubbbz, his former best friend, attacked him over the internet, yada, yada, yada. These people kind of really did heinous things to him over this Israeli-Palestine conflict, where Ethan Klein is Jewish, obviously, and the other people are supporting pretty much, I guess, Hamas terrorists, because you're allowed to do that on Twitch. But the craziest part about it is Ethan Klein probably only disagreed with them on like 5-10% of the topics. But that was enough that they were going to say, oh, he's a Zionist, yada, yada, yada. And they justified doing horrible things like calling CPS, trying to get his kids taken away over some stupid internet beef. And now Mr. Ethan Klein here has really, I don't even really understand this so far. He went to the Library of Congress to file his video that he put up on YouTube. So when these people would watch it and they chair reacted to it, essentially, then he could claim it wasn't fair use and take them to court. It's all kind of silly, but I think it has deeper ramifications from this little beef, and it could change the landscape of YouTube, because YouTube and Twitch.
How does making a video in the Library of Congress make it a specific way?
Because it's a copyrighted thing now.
Okay.
Like
it's in the Library of Congress?
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, if you file anything with the library, I mean, you can copyright pretty much anything. I have a copyright in the Library of Congress for my my book.
Okay, gotcha.
You know what I mean? So it's like, but there's a thing then. From what I understand about it, is like people could use like a snippet from my book, and it'd be like, okay, well, whatever. You know, you can't do anything about that. But it depends how much you take without transforming it. That people could be like, oh no, you can't do that. There is a certain number of stuff that you have to distort in a certain way. Before, because and these people, what they do, they chair react. They sit there, and you can't see me right now, but you're just leaning back in your chair. And you don't say anything. I mean, you're in the corner. You know what I mean? But so I guess that's what he's trying to go after right now. Yeah, snippets are okay. Quotations are okay. Entire segments, entire pages, none of that's not okay. It has to be some reasonable, fair use type thing. So let's hear what Mr. Ethan has to say here.
Well, I'm happy to tell you guys now. I, Ethan Klein, have registered Hassan Piker Content Nuke with the United States Library of Congress. Some of you guys out there sweating? Even though theoretically I could sue a lot more creators and rake in millions of dollars.
And this is what kind of makes me nervous about this, because it's like he's doing this, I think, for purely spiteful reasons, which if I were him, I'd probably be spiteful too. And like I really would, because these people went way too far. They're attacking his family. They're attacking his kids. Somebody sent them human skulls in the mail. So I understand why he's justifiably angry. But
he put just to give more context, he put a copyright on what exactly?
His Hassan Piker Content Nuke. So he made a video. Let's see if it goes up here. Maybe we can see the original one. But what he's talking about is how everybody is reacting to it, essentially. And you can see here Hasanabi, Destiny, Loner Box. And now he's going to go after everybody who reacted to it, and he doesn't feel like transformed it in a meaningful way. Because that's one of the big problems with, like, especially with Twitch. There is not a lot to say what's transformative and what isn't transformative. And a lot of people, they can just do the chair react, and they'll sit there for 20 minutes. They'll say absolutely nothing. They'll eat their food, and there's no context being given. It's literally you're playing this guy's video in the background for 20 minutes while you sit there and say nothing. And so I guess what he's trying to say is that that's not really transformative. You're just playing my video and you're making money from it. So,
which I guess is fair. What's your opinion on that stance? On copywriting that?
Well, yeah, content has to be transformative. It has to be.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Especially if you're going to be using someone else's. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a topic. As content creators ourselves, we're always going back and forth, making sure that we are doing it the legal way. We want to make sure we don't get in trouble for copyright infringements. And it's a very gray area. You just got to be very careful how you maneuver it.
My fault. Yeah, my daughter needed something. She's making binoculars.
You're fine. No worries. That's what happens when you're a single parent.
So, but that's what's happening basically with this. It's like, so I get where he's coming from, and I do think that there is not a lot of regulation on Twitch, which is why specifically I said, I know when we were starting something up, I was like, I don't want to do Twitch. I'm going to say the wrong thing. I'd probably already be banned off of there, because Twitch is, but then you have other people like these Hassan orbiters, who he's basically going after, the Hassan orbiters, who kind of can do whatever they want, and it doesn't really seem like there's two sets of rules on Twitch. It's like, that's what I don't care about.
So is all these people that he's going after, are they on Twitch, or are they YouTube and Twitch?
I don't know who, like I said, I have no idea who Casey Tron is, but I know Denims and Frogan are Hassan orbiters on Twitch.
Because if I'm not mistaken, YouTube has a copyright, like they check things for copyright.
Yeah.
It might not be fail-proof, but they do check things for copyright.
Yeah, but I think what it is like, but Twitch I don't think does, for one.
Yeah. No.
And two, it's like, but you can just like, I mean, that's what some of these people do on Twitch. It's like they'll play a video in the background, they'll say one or two words, and then it's like, yeah, I mean, I would say at that point, I know you're in the corner down here with your webcam, but you kind of are stealing the content. I would say it's like, it has to be transformative, or you have to react to it, or talk. It has to be enough.
Express some opinions about it. Yeah.
Anyway,
something.
But yeah, that's his problem with it. He's like, people are reacting to this stuff. They're making money off of what I've done, and yet they're not doing anything transformative, or they're not even really reacting to it. They're just sitting there while it plays, and they're gonna make money off of it. It's
he copyrighted specifically this one segment.
He copyrighted specifically this one video. Yeah, this one video he did. And it was to make a point. He's going to get more into it. Sorry, I've been yapping too long about this.
More creators
but,
and rake in millions of dollars.
Yeah, see, Papa Gut. I don't know who that guy is.
The purpose of this is not financial gain. People like XQC and Asmongold may have watched the entire thing, but I would never sue them just for doing that. I don't want to chill the reaction community into fear. Actually, the opposite. I hope that we can all unite against this type of egregious behavior.
See there,
not only makes
the chair react, and that's what it is. You're playing this, and it's not like, you know, obviously, if you're gonna go to the bathroom or something, I gotta go to the bathroom sometimes, you know. But like, okay, yeah, pause it.
Yeah,
come back in 30 seconds, a minute, something like that. The problem is, it's like sometimes, sometimes this chair is just doing all the work for you. So it's like,
makes us all look bad, but could destroy the commentary community as we know it.
Well, guys, if you enjoyed not giving any views to that terrible video, follow, subscribe, throw a prime.
The state of
see, and I think that's Denims is also kind of stupid. I think that's like the other problem too. It's like, I'm gonna watch your video that you took time out that you made on my stream, and then I'm gonna mock it and say, watch it here instead. Don't give this guy any money. Give me the money that he should have been getting. It's like, you know.
Yeah, you're telling people not to watch it, even though you're.
Yeah, but you're like, I want the money for you watching it. It's like, yeah, that's just a really stupid thing to say. It really is. It's like, that's dumb. It's like you're poking the bear for no reason. I don't get it.
Reaction content on Twitch is so broken. These creators feel comfortable looking right into a camera and saying outright, hey, I'm stealing this guy's content. Pay me instead of him.
Yeah.
This is not a healthy environment.
That's a crazy statement, too. That really is.
And when people like
it's very bold.
On reacting to entire TV shows on stream, my fear is that Sony or Disney comes along, sues everybody, and sets a devastating precedent that could endanger our entire field. Now, before I tell you who the 3 people I'm suing are, I just want to make it clear that they all met this very specific high bar of criteria that I set forth earlier. These people were not targeted based on their gender, their identity, their political beliefs. All 3 are on this list. In fact, they're the only 3, as far as I could tell, that reacted to the full video. Drum roll, please. Who's sweating at home, guys? Casey Tron.
I'm sweating at home, but that's nothing to do with Ethan Klein. It's just hot in here. But yeah, he comes out. I don't know, it cut off a little too soon. But yeah, Denims, Frogan, Casey Tron are the people he's suing. He is also saying that now because he's done this and now it's going to be an official lawsuit, he can get a subpoena for the moderators on the Snark Reddit. Now, I know you're not as terminally on his line as me, so you don't really know what that means. Yeah. But they have a whole Snark Reddit where these people, they kind of converge to like try to take his kids away. And they had like the whole thing, they're laughing about how somebody sent actual real human skulls to his home. And they're just like, oh, this is hilarious. I think that's funny. It's like, no, that's...
And this is on Reddit?
Yeah, well, this is where the Snark community is. So now he's going after them too. Like, he's going scorched earth on everybody. And you know what? I really don't like Ethan Klein that much, but I think and I don't know how this whole lawsuit thing's going to pan out, but I think what these people have done to him is crazy. And it's like, you know, I'm siding with Ethan Klein. It's crazy.
Snark, that I show in this video, they colluded with these creators to help create a market substitute for my work. And it was pinned by moderators. So these moderators are named as co-conspirators. And now that we've filed a complaint officially, we can subpoena Reddit for to see if they have any identifying information so that we can also sue them. Yeah.
Huh.
What?
It's just cool.
What does that mean?
I'm being...
He's not beating the stereotypes. I'm just going to say that.
Sincere.
But why do you say like that?
Just because I don't think that they expected that that would be happening.
Okay. Yeah. I was worried I was going to have to add you.
No, that's like, oh shit, I got some things to delete.
Yeah, so that's the good thing. A lot of these people have already tried deleting evidence, which is no bueno.
Yeah, you can't delete evidence. That's no good. So
it's a separate charge, yeah. That's an added charge.
Ethan Klein is suing Denims, Frogan, Casey Tron, the YouTube creator and H3 podcast co-host. Ethan Klein is initiating a lawsuit against content creators. Denims, I just read that. Why does that always happen to me? Klein's legal filing alleges that the 3 streams incorporated substantial portions of his original footage into reaction videos without sufficient commentary or transformative content, a practice he contends violates U.S. fair use standards, which it does. If it meets that certain criteria that he's alleging, it does. The suite claims that their reaction streams were a deliberate attempt to redirect traffic and ad revenue away from Klein's original upload. According to the complaint, the defendant's low-effort approach, marked by sparse analysis or added value, fails to transform the original work, thus disqualifying it from fair use protection. Klein asserts that this strategy not only siphoned views, but also diminished the potential monetization of his content. I don't know.
Lost revenue.
I don't know if that's true. Ethan Klein really, I mean, not that you should steal anybody's content. I don't, no matter how big or small they are, but Ethan Klein is not. I don't think he's not on the corner with like a tin can or anything begging. Like Ethan Klein's pretty wealthy.
Just to be clear, Ethan Klein's content was about Hassan Piker's content, correct?
Yes.
But he transformed it enough.
Oh yeah. He had a whole video on stuff like that. Yeah, he has commentary throughout. Yeah. I don't know if I should. I'm not going to look up the content nuke right now. We might get named in a lawsuit, but
I'm just trying to understand that. Yeah,
his video. He's not chair reacting to something, and even if you are chair reacting to something, you just have to give enough commentary, so it is transformative.
Yeah, I'm not an expert in this area whatsoever, so I'm trying to understand so that I never fall into the same issue. Put it that way. I don't want to be sued for copyright or being in this position. So this is pretty unprecedented. I mean, Ethan Klein was the original person who started the whole lawsuit thing back in 2017. I think actually for something very similar to this, but this is more like personal, I think, and he's just kind of pissed off that these people, not only they're stealing our content, his content, because other people do that, but they're mocking him about it too. They're laughing in his face about it. I'm like, yeah, that's, you hate this guy so much, but you're going to profit off of his work. It's like, I don't know. It's not a great look. But I don't know if him suing is a great look, but let's continue. The decision reflects escalating disputes in the digital content space over what constitutes acceptable reaction material. Klein, who has previously defended fair use boundaries in high-profile lawsuits, appears to be setting a new benchmark for creators' control over derivative content. At this time, Denham's, Frogan, and Casey John have not issued public response to the allegations. That is not true anymore. We're going to actually get into the responses. First, Hassan, because he's the orbiter. Or everyone orbits around him. Hassan's like, he's the golden boy of Twitch. Washed up old YouTubers will do anything instead of taking some time off and going to therapy. What a great take from Hassan. Love to hear from Hassan. Frogan, in a response, apparently Frogan deleted all of her Twitch VODs, or at the very least unlisted them. So I would imagine that Frogan is a little scared of this, because all of her videos are gone now. Denham's has, this is her second GoFundMe of the year. Second one, actually, regarding Ethan Klein. She was trying to raise $150,000 before. I think she made it up to like $36,000. And then the money was refunded. And now, of course, she has another lawsuit up. So she wants stuff. I was originally going to donate this to the Children's Cancer Research Fund, but this seems like a better cause. I was going to donate to Gaza, but I think you need it more. Yeah, they're just... What, Kelly Coop? Yeah, it's quite interesting.
Every other day, you're so good. This time you've been in here 3 times. It's like...
All right.
Wish I had a lock on the door. All right, so that's her response. And I just wanted to get into this, what Asmongold was going to say here, because Asmongold was named in the video. He is not going to be sued. But he's like kind of like the React King,
as we know it,
as of right now.
I think Ethan brings up a really good point, and especially with people reacting to movies. So we had a situation like this with OTK, and there was an individual in the organization who thought that it would be a good idea to go to sleep and play all of the Lord of the Rings movies in a row. And I was the one. I will be honest. I was the one. I said, guys, we are courting disaster. We're starting trouble.
Yeah, because it's not fair use. You can't just play a whole movie with no comment. I don't think you can play like 15 seconds of a movie. But on YouTube, if you try to upload 20 seconds of a movie, I know because I've done this for my own content. you would immediately be flagged. They said, this isn't fair use. This is 20 seconds long. On Twitch, you can put hours of stuff up like that, and they're like, oh, this is fair use. It's very honest. Like, Twitch is like the Wild West, man. They got no rules.
This is not gonna be good. Reacting to movies? Yep, exactly. And I think that there's like a degree of reacting that's positive and a degree that's bad. And so, like, for example, that's why I always like link videos, I promote the creators, etc. But I think he's talking about the malicious ones that are trying to openly. This is something that Ethan even talked about when he was debating Hassan the first time, that he had DMCA'd different people that were re-uploading his content for the explicit purpose of reducing his viewership, which is a very different thing than somebody who's just reacting to the content because they're interested in it, right? I mean, you have one that is based off of malicious intent, and you have the other one that's based off of just kind of a personal gain. The paywalled stuff? Yeah, and also the paywalled stuff. Yes, of course.
Well, guys, if you enjoyed not giving any views to that terrible video, follow.
Why would you do this? Bro, I react to videos all the time. Why are you messing this up for me? Why do you mess it? I've got a good thing going right now. Why do you fuck this up?
All right, so yeah, I don't know exactly how this is gonna go out, or it'll be interesting for sure. I don't know if anyone's ever done anything like this with the you know, copywriting things into the halls of Congress and stuff like that for React stuff, but I don't know. What do you think about it, Duke? Before we move on, something else.
I'm still trying to fully understand it all. I'm not an expert in this whatsoever. I get why Ethan Klein specifically in this scenario is doing this, because it got way too personal for him.
Well, I think, and if he's kind of got let's see, if I can even find his original video here. Yeah, here it is, the content nuke. So this was a long video. We're not going to play the whole thing, obviously, but yeah, I'll just give you an example of like how this is transformative content real fast. Go up to 1.5 speed. Let's just skip over to here.
The problem wasn't that he was pro-Palestinian, because I share a lot of those views, and I've been a stalwart supporter of the Palestinian cause for many years. The problem with Hassan's coverage, and a lot of people like him, was their complete lack of empathy for the Jewish people who were frankly slaughtered by Hamas. He refused.
So he's giving reasons right now why he's going to do that. Then he'll go through and like, this is him on his Leftovers podcast. They'll go through some clips, stuff like that. But you can see, obviously, this is not just a re-upload of anything Hassan did. I mean, there are parts of that, but yeah, compared to these other people who they're just watching his thing start to finish, then, this is transformative. The other thing is, it's just not.
So what the other people did is they took this video and they just played it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, they maybe said like one or two things.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And then they mock him for it too. It's like, that's just I mean, that's what Denham's literally said in that video. She said, hey, listen, it's like thank you for watching it with me instead of having to give money to Ethan Klein. It's like, yeah, that's kind of crazy to say. It really is.
Yeah.
Hopefully this doesn't
definitely shot herself in the foot with that statement. That statement alone will definitely be, if it does go to court or trial, that statement
it doesn't look good. Well, I don't. It'll be interesting because there's not a whole lot of, but like you have to transform a work if you're going to use the work. Like I said, you can't.
Yeah. You could just regurgitate.
I'm getting like, you could take a paragraph out of a book. You can't take a chapter out of a book. You know what I mean? It's like, because then it's not. Or you could like, obviously, like there's a rule too where it's like if you're writing a paper on something and you want to cite it as a source, there's literally nothing anybody could do to stop you if you're going to cite a couple sentences from a book. That's fair use. That's totally fine. But you can't take a chapter from something and be like, oh well, yeah, but I put it in quotation marks. It's like, no, that doesn't work. You're not doing enough with it. You know what I mean? You can't just be like, well, I got this from this. No. And I guess that's his complaint right now too. I've never seen it put in the video format, but I guess hey, we're gonna see how that goes. So. Moving on. Oh, and I forgot to say that before. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. All that stuff. We got Caitlin Clark here, who is pretty much just being used and abused by the WNBA again. Yeah,
she's been in this situation for quite a long time. At least finally we're going to a topic that I actually know a little something.
Yeah, well, this is just, I'm not gonna play this whole thing, but like, yeah, she just gets like, I don't know, like she gets like hit by somebody else comes in, hits her, and then somebody pushes her down. I don't know, man. These WNBA people.
And somehow the statements, I've been seeing this throughout social media, different platforms. So people are basically saying, oh, she's a crybaby, all this, all that. Like they're blaming her for her reactions to her getting
Oh,
more than just a fouled. That's not a regular like.
Yeah,
it
no.
does happen in sports, you know. Okay, sometimes people do accidentally poke people in the eye or whatever because they're trying to be defensive, but the after effect where the other teammate comes and shoves her to the ground, there was no call for that. Like, why did you shove her to the ground? How is that part of the game?
Well, I'm trying to think too. In what other league would anything like this be tolerated? Do you think like anyone could get
not
away
tolerated in the NBA?
Anyone could get away with this doing
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely crazy.
Obviously, hockey's a little different because you know it is more of an aggressive sport, and there's just a penalty box and whatnot. But sports like even football,
this is just
like people get thrown out of the games, get suspended.
This is just women's basketball, though.
In baseball, if you charge the mound and you yell at the umpire and you say something wrong to the umpire, you get thrown out of the game, for crying out loud. You don't even need to do anything physical. But then, NBA, for instance, there's been numerous instances where like things get physical in the NBA, and people get fines, people get suspensions left and right. Like the Ron Artest or Meta World Peace, as he is known now. Dennis Rodman was famous for it. Numerous fines, numerous suspensions happened in the NBA because of similar skirmishes. But yet now all of a sudden, it's a normal thing as long as it's happening to Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, well, I actually just looked this up beforehand. Who is Sophie Cunningham? She's a new teammate that Clark got as
she's a rookie.
Yeah, I think January. No, I don't know if she's a rookie.
I'm pretty sure she is.
But she is new to the Fever.
Team, yeah.
Anyway, Indiana Fever player Sophie Cunningham has gained over 530,000 followers on TikTok since tackling a Sun player who had fouled Caitlin Clark. WNBA ratings are about to skyrocket. Cunningham has become an overnight sensation after she yanked Sun player J.C. Sheldon to the ground, who had fouled Clark earlier in the game. Clark had been ganged up on by multiple Sun players before the incident. Cunningham was fined for the tackle, which Clark says she will cover according to sports. So I guess this is just going to turn it, and I can't play the audio here because they're super strict about that with sports. I don't know why.
And I hate the wordage that they use. Tackle, like it wasn't a tackle. Play it.
She kind of she yanked her. It was kind of close.
She held her from so that's what they call a flagrant foul. She purposely tried to stop her from scoring, and yes, maybe there was a motive of like retaliation, but that's totally speculative.
It's gonna set a bad precedent, though. People are not watching this for the basketball anymore.
Those fouls have been normal fouls in sports, specifically in the NBA and now the WNBA, for a long time. And last I checked, Caitlin Clark has gotten, how many times when we reported on this previously has she been tackled to the ground? Those people didn't get suspended and fined.
Quite a bit, actually. I think it's like they said 22% of the flagrant fouls in the league of last year, I believe is this statistic, 22% were on her, which is crazy. Like, that's a lot.
For one player, one single player? Yeah, that's crazy.
Going viral after being ejected, standing up for teammate Caitlin Clark last night. Her jersey is now sold out. That's an interesting thing. So this is let me close down some of these tabs. I don't need all these up anymore.
Yeah, sadly, it's transforming the game into a soap opera. It's to a reality show at this point. It's not about the actual game, which I guess it could be an argument. I guess it's increasing ratings, which desperately the WNBA needs.
They do need ratings very badly.
At the same time, like, do you care that the reason your ratings are going up is not because of basketball? I don't know.
I don't know. We've covered the WNBA a surprising amount of times, and it's like Brittany Griner had a quote saying, "I don't like how noisy it is. Like, why are all these people here?" It's like, I don't. You're an entertainer. Or you're supposed to be. Like, jeez.
You're supposed to try and sell out games.
You're supposed to, but they have no incentive to. What's their incentive? It's a subsidized league. There is no incentive to sell out games.
Paid no matter what.
Oh, let's see. The WNBA has taken further action after Tuesday night's Fever Sun game that included 2 dust-ups and 3 ejections. Marina Mabry's technical foul, which came from her shoving Fever guard Caitlin Clark to the ground during a scuffle, has been upgraded to a flagrant 2 foul.
There you go.
I don't know what that...
As it should be.
I don't know what that
means. So a technical foul is something that usually doesn't it's not usually accompanied with a fine or a suspension. Flagrant fouls usually do. as soon as it's labeled a flagrant foul. I'm not sure about the 1-2 or that type of system specifically, but those usually come with a suspension or a fine or a fine.
Let's see. It says Mabry was part of the first dust-up of the game, which happened in the third quarter. It started when Sun guard J.C. Sheldon poked Clark in the eye, and Clark immediately recalled and reacted. Turning back to Sheldon, the two shoved each other, and the Sun center Tina Charles got in the middle of them. Mabry then ran into the scrum and puffed out her chest. The two teams were then immediately separated by officials, security guards, and the coaching staffs. After a long review, officials upgraded Sheldon's common foul to a flagrant 1 foul, assessed technical fouls to Clark, Charles, and Mabry. Okay. I don't know how that you would have to then go back and review that. That looked pretty flagrant to me. I'm not a sports expert.
And what's crazy is that they gave Caitlin Clark a technical foul for responding to getting poked in the eye.
Yeah.
That's to me, that's the shocking part out of all that. Like, how the hell is that a technical foul on her when she got poked in the eye? But okay.
Many people, including the broadcast, media, and fans across the league, were confused how Mabry did not get ejected for that hit. I think it's I know why she didn't get ejected. Marina Mabry is going to be ejected. Fever play-by-play announcer Pat Boylan said on the broadcast as Clark fell to the ground. If the officials saw that Marina Mabry is going to be ejected, Mabry's day is almost assuredly going to be done. But instead, Mabry originally got the same penalty Charles and Clark got with technical fouls. Crew chief Ashley Gloss said in a pool report conducted by Indy Star postgame, the contact made by Mabry did not rise to a level of ejection. Additionally, it did not meet the criteria for a flagrant foul penalty too. Clark and Charles both received their technical fouls for acting in an unsportsmanlike manner. Like, dude,
I'm not sure if I agree with that statement. That's for sure. You came into a situation that didn't involve you. The play did not involve you whatsoever, and you pushed the player to the ground.
Dude,
How is that not a flagrant foul?
entire league is only successful to a little degree, a modicum right now because of Caitlin Clark, and yet these jealous women will do everything they can to take her out of the game. It's crazy.
It even goes as far as to say, like, everyone that statement that you just made obviously is a statement that a lot of people are saying, which to me is a very true and valid statement. The only reason the NBA is successful right now, or semi-successful, or whatever, has good ratings, is because of specifically Caitlin Clark. I am a firm believer in that statement. Everyone else apparently that has to do with this league or any other person on another team will not admit it. They will not admit it. They absolutely deny it, and they say like it is an insult to say that. It's like, it's not an insult, it's the truth. Like, it's nobody's going after you to try and insult you. We're telling you what is happening from our outside perspective of the game. Like, you're on the courts. We're trying to tell you as viewers, this is why we're tuning in, because she is awesome. She has very good talent, and she is very good at playing the game. And yet you guys are handling it in a very poor and unprofessional manner.
I don't
You're
think
abusing this person on the court.
I don't think they care. I think they're just pissed off that they're watching because of Caitlin Clark.
They're not the star, because they're not getting talked about.
I think
you're getting talked about now. A lot of these people are getting talked about now, but in a negative way.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's racism too. That's just my take on it, but that's what I believe.
Yeah.
The league cannot go back in time and retroactively eject Mabry from the game, but a flagrant 2 holds a standard fine and more weight than a technical foul in terms of potential suspension. A flagrant 2 is worth 2 points, and if a player gets up to 5 points, they're automatically suspended for 1 game. Okay. Mabry has not been suspended for the foul, and she will not face any additional fines on top of the standard fine. The league has levied additional fines on Fever guard Sophie Cunningham for her role in the on-court fight near the end of the game. With the Fever up 17 with 46 seconds left, Cunningham grabbed Sheldon's head while she was going up for a layup, pulling her down to the ground. Sheldon got up immediately, and she and fellow Sun guard Lindsey Allen rushed Cunningham. The fight spilled over into the crowd, and Cunningham pulled Sheldon's hair. Yeah, these women are just like, I don't know, they're crazy, man. Like, you would never see this stuff, I don't think, in the NBA today. I mean, maybe if you go back 20, 30 years, you could see this stuff all the time, you know. But not today. Like, they would never put up with this. After another review, Cunningham was called out for a flagrant 2 on the court and ejected. Of course, she got ejected. Sheldon and Allen were also assessed technicals for fighting and ejected. The league also fined Cunningham separately on top of that standard flagrant 2 fine for a role in the on-court skirmish. At this time, the league did not levy additional fines other than the standard technical fine on Sheldon or Allen for their roles. Cunningham has also not been suspended. The league also confirmed at this time neither Fever coach Stephanie White nor Sun coach Rashid Mazzani have been fined for their comments about the official post game. That doesn't mean they won't be fined, the league said, but just that as of Wednesday afternoon, they have not yet been fined. All right.
And
So
to the more root of the cause, it's been a very good, valid point that a lot of people have been saying, including the coaches. It really has to do with the refs. The refs are in charge of controlling the game, and they're not controlling the game.
No, not
they're
at all.
letting the players do whatever they want to do. Who you could say whatever player, Cunningham or the other ones, it doesn't matter. The refs need to control the game, and it's the same thing in NFL. It's the same thing that people say in the NBA. It doesn't matter what sport it is. The officials need to be officials, and they need to control the game, the flow of the game. They need to control what is going on. The excitement levels, the aggression in the game. That's why they have the power to give technicals and flagrants, to set the tone and control the game. They aren't supposed to wait till a blowout happens and a fight and a skirmish happens before okay, now we need to step in and do something. No, you should have stepped in and done something that first time that Caitlin Clark got pushed to the ground and had a talk with both benches and said, look, if anything continues, there will be suspensions. Cut it out. But that conversation never happened, and that's why it blew up to what it blew up to. If it was the NBA, they would have had that talk to the benches. It happens regularly. Anytime something like this happens in the NBA, they tell them flat out, look, if you guys continue this, the game will be called off, you will be suspended, you will be fined, there will be issues.
Maybe they're just not used to it.
I guarantee you that talk didn't happen.
I'm saying maybe they're just not used to really refereeing, because it's like, up to like 2 years ago, nobody watched the WNBA, so what did it matter?
Yeah.
Nobody was ever critiquing their performances.
They need to figure out a system. They need to figure out a proper way to handle this, because I guarantee you it's not going to stop.
Agreed. All right, well, we're going to leave that. We keep talking about Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham. Well, no, this is the first time we talk about her. Normally it's Angel Reese. We didn't mention Angel Reese, but we're moving on. Next topic, I want to talk about RFK here, who has this... and really, this is kind of just a prelude into that RFK, Kraft Heinz, General Mills, to remove artificial dyes from food products. This is the whole MAGA strategy of trying to make Americans healthier. But I wanted to play this clip first. This is just actually kind of stunning.
And we use 70% of the pharmaceutical products in the world are sold to our country. We only have 4.2% of the world's population. We are the sickest country in the world, and pharmaceutical products are the number 3 cause of death after cancer and heart attacks. So all that advertising, we're the only nation in the world that allows that kind of advertising on TV. We're a complete outlier.
Well, I think Big Pharma, we were saying about, the APAC lobbies and stuff like that. Big Pharma is another one of our big lobbies.
Talking about cancerous lobbies.
But yeah, just in case you couldn't hear him, it was a little, RFK, it sometimes a little hard to hear. 70% of the pharmaceutical products in the world are sold to our country. We only have 4.2% of the world's population. That's an insane statistic. That really is. That means most Americans are, taking something, I would imagine, or more than one thing.
You would think our life expectancy would be at the top with how much pharmaceutical aid we get, but I guarantee you we're not.
Well, actually, I forget the program too. I wish I had the clip, but it's like, there was this guy, he was like 102 years old. He's from like some small remote island, like a very small remote island, right? And he's like, yeah, everyone around, we all live to be about 100 years old. We all live because everything they grow comes from the ground, or if they want to go eat a chicken, they're like, yeah, well, I'll just go kill the chicken. And then I eat the chicken. But there is no processed food. And I think a lot of what is killing us, I think RFK is right. Everything is wrong with our food. It's being processed. It's shot up with steroids. It's not natural. It's got these artificial dyes in it, all these artificial sweeteners. And yeah, it's not good. It's definitely not good. So this is going to be him talking about the big, beautiful bill and how it's going to take us back, I guess, in time to a more old style of healthcare. Which I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing.
The big, beautiful bill. Tell us what the impact is on HHS for you.
Well, it's going to it's going to help us do what we need to do with healthcare in this country, which is to improve the quality of our healthcare and lower the cost and give Americans more choice. One of the things that it does, it allows health savings accounts, which are very popular with the American people, so that you can put pre-tax money aside to pay for certain things that are relevant to healthcare. For example, gym memberships will be paid for. For $75 a month, you under this bill, you'll be able to get a concierge doctor who is available 24 hours a day, every day of the week, every day of the year. And you'll be able, and you won't get a bill for it. You won't have to file insurance claims. It's just like old style health care, but it's for $75 a month. We're also going to allow the creation of on-site medical centers by employers at factories, at workplaces where workers can get treated for free. So somebody won't have to leave work for 4 or 5 hours to get a medical checkup. They'll be able to do that on-site. There are many, many other really great things in this bill that...
That was, I'm not going to lie, that was one of my, one of the few benefits about working at East Penn Manufacturing that I did enjoy was them having their own medical department. And so anytime I had an issue where there would be a migraine or an injury or anything like that, I wouldn't have to leave work. I wouldn't have to go anywhere else. I just have to walk to that building and seek the service.
Really? I did not even know you could do that.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't
I used it regularly.
Oh, really?
I had a lot of issues while working there. I had a work injury and whatnot. So.
Well, I mean, it sounds good. It doesn't sound like it's going to be, super high cost, $75 a month, old-fashioned health care. I don't know. I'm almost at the point with the medical industry, and actually, you're a lot more deep in with the medical industry than me. I know you have a lot more health issues, but it's like, it just, I don't know, the whole thing just seems insane to me.
Now, my question is, I know, I don't know if currently, are we still required to have health insurance? I know for a while you'd get a fine if you didn't.
Oh, yeah, that was under the Obamacare thing. I'm not positive of that.
I'm not sure if that still is a thing, but if it is, I wonder if this $75, what is it called? I forget the wordage that he uses. Concierge doctor. Yeah, concierge doctor. I wonder if that would take place of your PCP, or is that just for only specific uses?
I don't know. I wish I had a longer clip of that, really, but it does seem like, hey, he's gonna, like I said, the big.
I mean, it sounds interesting. Sounds like a potential benefit. Yeah.
It does. Yeah, we'll have to see what's gonna happen with the big beautiful bill because obviously the last time we were talking about that, is the whole Trump and Elon blowing up thing. About how Elon didn't want the big beautiful bill, Trump wants the big beautiful bill. He felt like Doge was
just like most bills. There's always good and bad. Bills are hundreds and hundreds, sometimes even thousands of pages, so it's hard to know every little detail about them.
Well, they stuff them like that on purpose so people don't know what's in them, which I hate. But what can you do? So Kraft Heinz General Mills to remove artificial dyes from food products over the next 2 years.
All right, welcome back to ABC News Live reports. Kraft Heinz has announced that it will remove artificial food dyes from its food products within the next 2 years. The company saying that only some of its products still actually contain color additives, but the brands that still use the dyes will have them removed by the end of 2027. So with well-known...
Which is very good because there's actually no reason for us to have artificial food dyes in anything.
Yeah, just to make it look better.
Yeah, it makes it pop.
So
but
dumb.
There is no other countries don't do that. Like dyes are pretty much universally banned.
I mean, they've been proven that artificial dyes are not
good for you
for people to ingest. Yeah.
Foods, right? Kool-Aid, Jell-O, Heinz ketchup. They could all likely be affected by these changes. And the move, of course, comes 2 months after Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. unveiled a plan to phase out the dyes from the nation's food supply. So for more on this, I want to bring in ABC News medical correspondent Dr. Darian Sutton. Okay, so first of all, what is your initial reaction here to some of these big companies making the announcement they plan to do this? I think it's a little surprising, too, how much food dye is in some of these products. You think that your ketchup would be red. It's tomato.
It is surprising. It's estimated that at least 10% of products within the supermarket have some type of artificial dye in them. Of those products,
I would say more than that. That's just, I just think, I think more than that.
Especially in America, have at least 3 or more. In terms of the direction that we're seeing today, this is relatively expected, at least from some manufacturers, as you stated, RFK Jr. had that bold initiative to remove at least 8 artificial dyes from the food supply. Now, important context, 2 of those dyes will likely have their FDA approval removed, but as for the other 6, this initiative is very much a strong suggestion, as manufacturers are not legally required or committed to removing these dyes in the...
Oh, we should get rid of them, definitely.
Yeah.
Get rid of them.
Again,
At that point,
there's no
it's
reason to have
very
any.
much voluntary, but with consumer demand, as we've seen in Europe, we're seeing a change in that direction.
Yeah, so in terms of the consumers now learning more about what's in their food, are there risks to consuming these products?
Yeah, well, Kana, this is a movement that has been ongoing for over a decade. Many health advocates citing the studies that show that there is an association between increased consumption of artificial dyes and neurobehavioral problems, specifically in children. For example, problems with attention and problems with hyperactivity.
Oh, it's kind of like what RFK's been saying all along, is the autism is spiking. Why is that happening? Could it be linked? Could it not? I don't know. Yeah, RFK's pretty smart, man. He's probably onto something this whole time.
However, when you look at those studies, the data isn't fully clear. We do see that association, but it's not.
Well, it's got to be coming from somewhere, though, right? Maybe it's not the food, but it's got to be coming from somewhere. How we have more? I think 1 in 36 kids are autistic, right? And it was like, 50 years ago it was like 1 in 10,000. How does that happen? Something's happening. I don't know.
I think there's a cause and effect. And Kana, there are also other studies that have been cited in terms of increased risk of cancer. Now, those studies are mainly animal studies, specifically
I've heard of
animal
that,
models where they gave animals certain types of dye and they saw increased rates of certain types of thyroid cancer. But it's important to understand that those associations have not been found in human studies. There have been no human studies that show an association with dye and cancer, but at the end of it, these dyes don't provide any nutritional value, and
so
if
get
there
rid
is
of
a
them.
risk, many are stating, why have it in our products?
Yep.
Well, exactly. Especially, I'm thinking about all the parents out there like myself worried about what their kids are eating and how this could impact a child's brain different than an adult's. So what's your advice to people as they're walking through the grocery store if they want to take a step here to try and eliminate these dyes from their diet? What's the first thing that they should do? Reading the label is an obvious one, but what are the red flags?
I don't think reading a label is an obvious one. Because it's like there's so much, and maybe it's just because I'm ignorant and I'm dumb or whatever, right? But it's like if I read the back of like a bag of Doritos or something, I have no idea what that is telling me. I have no clue.
Yeah, especially the chemical compounds that they
it's like
wordage that they use. It's,
they make everything's in such fancy language. It's like you'd have to be a scientist to be like, okay, some of these things, okay, I know are bad. Most of them I've never heard of. And that's
sodium phosphate, all this
that's just me being an average consumer, I think, because I don't think most people are going into the back and they're reading the ingredients. So that maybe I'm wrong. Could be wrong.
Well, when you're reading the label, it's really important to pay attention to what you're reading. When you're looking at that ingredient list, many of us might not be aware that these food dyes are in products that you might not associate with bright, luminous colors. So you want to make sure to pay attention to that label. And most often, the dyes are listed at the end of the ingredient list, so you might miss it. Also, if you're making choices, you can choose options where it's stated that there are no artificial additives. That obviously is going to lead you in the better direction. And then if you're making products at home and you want to use dyes, you can opt for other versions that might be more helpful and not artificial. We're talking about beet juice, turmeric, and other forms of additives that can help provide that color, but can help avoid that risk.
And they both stain your countertop too. I can say that for sure. All right, Dr. Sutton.
All right, so that's good. RFK is working to eliminate that. Decisions after the Healthcare Human Rights Services Kennedy unveiled a plan in April to start phasing out these synthetic dyes. 2 of them are getting eliminated essentially. And we'll have to see about the other 6. But yeah, I think that's a good thing, right? I don't know. I got no complaints about that. I hope Kennedy can make America healthier. I think we have a terrible obesity problem, and I think most of it is probably just from not eating the right things.
And one of the things we as consumers can control is the voice. Like we can tell these companies that make our food, hey, we don't want this stuff anymore. Please take it out. And if we say it loud enough, we say it in the right channels, it does get results. And that's kind of what we're doing right now. Thankfully, we have somebody who is listening to the voice of the consumer. And we're saying, like, do these other countries have healthier food than us? Can we have the same healthy food that these other countries have? It's really weird that the companies have a choice. Make it healthier for us, or don't make it healthy, and they're choosing not to make it healthy. Can we remove that choice from them?
Plus, I think, like I said, maybe it's still early to say it, but I think Trump partnering up with Kennedy was a slam dunk. That was a great move.
He definitely has our best interests.
All right, but I think that's where we're gonna leave it. We're gonna wrap it up there. Duke, you got anything else to add?
I think that's it for that one. Definitely like, share, and subscribe.
Like, share, and subscribe, and we will be back at you guys on Monday. We are back to our regular schedule, so Monday.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right.
Catch you on the next one.
Later.